Hello y'all, welcome to another MEDeo. Today we are going to be talking about a disease that's a lot more prevalent than the first two were, and it hits home to a lot of people. We're going to be talking about breast cancer, and some of y'all might not even know anyone with breast cancer, but I think just cancer in general, it's plagued everyone. Everyone has some relation to it. But today we're going to be specifically talking about breast cancer. There are many types of breast cancer, and in this video I highlight 4 of them, the main 4 that I found. And they were ductal carcinoma in situ, invasive ductal carcinoma, triple negative breast cancer, and metastatic breast cancer. And that last one is stage 4. Before I dive down to the 4 types of breast cancer that I talk about today, here are some signs of breast cancer. To me, lumps make the most sense because I would assume the lumps are being caused by the tumor. But definitely if you're experiencing any of these or anything abnormal in your breasts, really, I think you should definitely go check out a doctor because it's better to be safe than sorry. And the earlier you can get ahead of the cancer, the better. The first 2 types of breast cancer that I'd like to talk about are ductal carcinoma in situ and invasive ductal carcinoma. Ductal carcinoma in situ basically means that there are abnormal cells along the milk ducts and they have yet to move to other tissues of the breast. And that leads to invasive ductal carcinoma, which means that the tissues have moved to other areas. And this is the most common type of breast cancer. Around 70% to 80% of breast cancer diagnoses are invasive ductal carcinoma. The third type of breast cancer that I like to talk about is triple negative breast cancer. That's when the breast cancer cells, abnormal cells, test negative for estrogen and progesterone receptors, and they also don't have the HER2 protein on their surface. And I don't know if that's better or not, because usually the estrogen and progesterone, they bind to the receptors and they make the cells grow more. So now that they don't have the receptors, they can't grow more, or they will grow still, but then they won't grow faster. But that also means hormone therapy is ineffective. But on the bright side, chemotherapy would be more effective if you get to it early on this type of cancer. Around 10 to 20% of breast cancer diagnoses are triple negative breast cancer. Younger people, African Americans, Hispanics, and or those with a mutation in the BRCA1 gene are more at risk of having triple negative breast cancer. I'm going to talk more about the last one because it gives more insight on how cancer works in general. A BRCA1 gene is a tumor suppressor gene, and when we're talking about cancer, we're usually referring to proto-oncogenes/oncogenes and tumor suppressor genes. A proto-oncogene is an oncogene that has yet to be mutated, and usually once it's mutated, it's referred to as an oncogene, and that usually is what they're talking about when they're talking about cancer. A proto-oncogene would tell a cell when to start cell division, and a tumor suppressor gene, as the name implies, prevents tumors from forming by telling a cell that has too many mutations to kill itself, aka apoptosis. So when you have mutations in both the oncogenes and the tumor suppressor genes, you have a disaster because the oncogene is telling the cell to divide when it doesn't need to divide, and the tumor suppressor gene isn't really able to tell the cell to commit apoptosis because it itself is mutated. Just a quick caveat though, some mutations don't lead to any changes at all, but for the sake of this video, I assume that mutations meant bad things happened. And when the cell is continually dividing without any regulation, eventually you'll have a mass of cells called a tumor, and there you have cancer. The last type of breast cancer that I want to talk about is metastatic breast cancer, also known as stage 4 breast cancer, and that is when the breast cancer has spread to other areas of the body, usually through the lymphatic system, through your blood vessels, or even just by invading nearby cells. There are many ways cancer can spread to other areas of the body, but those were the 3 that I listed. And symptoms of stage 4 breast cancer obviously would differ depending on where the cancer spreads to. I'm going to read off the general symptoms of breast cancer, a lot of which were in the picture that I showed at first. Lump in the breast showed that at first. I'm assuming that's from the tumor, but I could be wrong. Bloody discharge from the nipple, which I'm assuming is either blood or something mixed with blood, comes out from your nipple. Definitely see a doctor right away if that happens to you. Changes in shape or texture of the nipple or breast. I showed that also in the picture at first. Shout out to Medical News Daily, or today I think. Uh, Redness or swollen lymph nodes. I think I also showed that in the picture at first. And just a reminder, if you do feel anything abnormal in your breast, please see a doctor right away. It is so much better to have that better safe than sorry mentality, especially with cancer, because cancer spreads really quickly. You want to get ahead of it ASAP. Here's a graph of how fast cancer cells are spreading. This is not specifically breast cancer, but you can see in the beginning, all of them have a similar shape of exponential growth, so you obviously want to get ahead of that ASAP. So how do you treat breast cancer? There are many routes you can go with when it comes to treatment. I think it depends on which type you have as well, but here are some general treatments. Mammoplasty is a surgery where the surgeon will remove the tumor and some tissue around it and then reshape your breast, and it'll be smaller than before because the tumor's gone, obviously. A lymph node dissection is an option as well. I don't know what that is, to be very honest with you. Lumpectomy is the removal of the lump, which is the tumor or the mass of cells. A mastectomy is the removal of some or all of the breast. Teletherapy is the use of radiation like X-rays to try to destroy or shrink in the mass of cells. Chemotherapy, which is the most well-known approach to cancer in general, is when you use drugs, usually via injection, to destroy or control cancer cells. And it's used by kind of stopping cell division in general, which is why your hair falls off during chemo or after chemotherapy, because your hair cells have stopped dividing at the rate that they do, and then it falls off. Hormone therapy is usually used after surgery, and it is based off blocking receptors from binding to estrogen or progesterone, and this is used to kind of prevent the few that potentially remaining cells after surgery from growing and turning into another tumor. This approach is least effective with triple negative breast cancer because triple negative breast cancer cells have no receptors or have no estrogen, progesterone receptors. So you're not really blocking anything with hormone therapy, which is why triple negative breast cancer is a bit more tricky. I hope you all found this useful for learning about the basics of breast cancer. I know I don't get too in depth with these diseases because, you know, when I research, a lot of what I read I don't understand because I'm still a high school senior, but I try to retain what I can and bring it back to y'all. I'm gonna get real with y'all real quick. I made this video because I came across this post on TikTok, and I reached out to the creator and asked if I could make a video about it and dedicate it to her because I wanted to show my support. And to euphemize it, cancer sucks. It affects so many of us, and that's the biggest euphemization you can ever get. So if you're watching this, I think I speak on behalf of everyone else watching this when I say that, you know, we're rooting for you, and I know that's not a lot compared to the support and love you've gotten on TikTok, but you know, it's something. And we really wish y'all the best, and you got this. Alright, thanks for watching. You know, I like doing this kind of stuff. I want to continue doing it now that I'm in quarantine. The next one is going to be on the bubonic plague. I actually finished that one already, but I wanted to push this one up instead. So once I edit that, that will be released a week after I finish editing to kind of spread out the contents. And if you catch a mistake that I made, or if you want to add on something, feel free to comment down below. If you want to request the disease to be talked about, comment down below. Please comment down below. And other than that, thank y'all for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next video.
You got a fast car, and I wanna take it to anywhere.